Ever since antiquity, humans have used a variety of materials as currency, ranging from animal pelts to tangible coins. This money has fueled trade, power, war, and survival for millennia, and the intricate galaxy of Star Wars is no different. The Star Wars economy spans across countless governments, factions, cultures, and species, each with their own type of galactic currency. Today, our mission is to cover them all. This is every single Star Wars currency explained. Galactic Standard Credits. Galactic credits are by far the most widespread currency in Star Wars. They're probably the only currency outside of calamari flan that you're at all familiar with. These are most often called credits, but this currency has taken many different forms throughout the vast history of the galaxy. These credits set the standard for how all other currencies in the galaxy were measured. Interstellar credit. Before the formation of any galactic-spanning governing body like the Galactic Republic, interstellar credits were the most widespread form of currency in the galaxy. They were the first attempt at a standardized currency to be used across different star systems. Republic credit. This was the currency used by the Galactic Republic from its earliest stages all the way until its reformation into the Galactic Empire. After it transitioned to the Galactic Empire, all citizens were forced to trade in their Republic credits for Imperial credits, making the Republic credit one of the most coveted and valuable forms of currency in the galaxy, as seen in Skeleton Crew. CIS credit. When the Confederacy of Independent Systems splintered from the Galactic Republic in 24 BBY, it issued its credit system. While this credit was backed by corporate-held banks, they were almost exclusively accepted in separatist-held regions of the galaxy. Imperial credit. After its reformation from the Galactic Republic to the Galactic Empire, the standard credit also transitioned from Republic credits to Imperial credits. This became the standard currency across the core worlds and mid-rim regions of the galaxy until the end of the Imperial reign. Old Republic Imperial credit. During the time of the Old Republic, back before the Sith Rule of Two, Imperial credits were used by the Sith Empire as a monetary system separate from that of the Republic. Similar to CIS credits, Imperial credits of the Sith Empire were almost exclusively accepted on Sith-held worlds in the galaxy. Alliance credit. After the formation of the Alliance to Restore the Republic, best known as the Rebel Alliance, they created their currency system, the Alliance credit. This credit type was accepted in sympathetic systems to the Rebel cause and was used to fund their resistance against the Galactic Empire. New Republic credit. After the fall of the Empire, the New Republic reinstated a reformed credit system, known as New Republic credits. Unlike the uprising of the Galactic Empire during the time of the New Republic, Imperial credits were still a valid currency to be used, as stated by Greef Karga to Din Djarin in The Mandalorian premiere. Physical forms of currency. Credits are only good if they're worth something, so how were denominations of credits organized? The physical forms that credits were carried and exchanged varied widely across the galaxy. Credit chip. Starting with the most common form of digital currency storage. Credit chips, also known as cred sticks, were standardized currency in the galaxy. They were convenient to carry, didn't weigh much compared to other currency types, and came in several easy-to-exchange denominations. Think of these like paper dollar bills. They represent money without having much actual material worth. Credit coin. Also called cred coins, these were a smaller, more coin-shaped currency used more often on outlying planets. Credit coins could be found in denominations of 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, 500, 1000, 2000, and 5000 credit values. Credit ingot. Larger and more valuable than typical credit coins, ingots were most often used in bulk transactions or high-value exchanges. They were small, flat pieces of metal with engravings in them to denote their value, followed by the universal credit symbol. Credit chit. Credit chits were small objects used to represent credits in smaller denominations and were an updated form of credit chips. Credit cube. Credit cubes were mostly self-explanatory. These were cube-shaped variants of credits used to pay large amounts of credits with a single object. Credit token. Credit tokens were a form of currency used mostly on backwater planets. These were mostly made of plastic, making them easy to replicate by forgers, but it was not usually worth the time or effort considering the cost of forgery in comparison to the value of the token. Credit solid. Credit solids were payment devices that could be used rather than carrying large amounts of physical credit chips. Think of it like a USB, but instead of containing a complete history of the published works of Charles Darwin, they contain credits to be used at terminals. Some untraceable credit solids were used by secret agents on special assignment. Decicred. Decicreds are a denomination of credits which equal 1/10 of the value of a credit, similar to that of a dime in real life. Imperial cash voucher. Imperial cash vouchers were a government-issued currency by the Galactic Empire used to redeem specific amounts of credits. Authority cash voucher. Issued by the Corporate Sector Authority and used after the Galactic Civil War, these cash vouchers served as a debt receipt that took the form of plastic cards. These cards were magnetically encoded with the amount due to an individual by the corporate authority. Pay voucher or voucher chip. Pay vouchers were a method used by employers to pay their employees rather than giving them physical credits. Just like real-world checks, pay vouchers had to be deposited before they could be used. Military scrip. Military scrips were a currency issued to members of the Republic or Imperial military. They were accepted exchange mediums throughout the galaxy, and during Imperial times, there was harsh punishment given for not accepting Imperial currency, scrip or not. Unlike how Imperial credits could continue to be used as currency during the time of the New Republic, military scrips given in the time of the Galactic Empire could not be exchanged for New Republic credits. CSA corporate script. Given out by the Corporate Sector Authority, these scripts acted as a flat currency to be used typically within the corporate sector, accepted in place of galactic credits. Interchip. Interchips take the place of credit cards in Star Wars. These are used to transfer credits between individuals and stores, extracting the precise number of credits from an individual's bank account and applying it to the store's account. Bearer card. Typically used by smugglers, bearer cards were a digital payment method offering anonymity in place of security. Letter of resources. The Star Wars equivalent of an IOU, letters of resources were used in the time of the New Republic as an alternative for credits, typically promising different resources in place of credits or promising credits at a later date. Letters of resources were considered worthless in star systems outside that of the Republic. Regional coins and alien currencies. In our history, humans have created dozens of different forms of currency, ranging from Mesopotamian shekels to Greek drachmas and the US dollar. Similarly, likely every alien culture in Star Wars would have had to create some form of coinage or currency to form the basis of their economic backbone. Some coins and currencies take on a more ceremonial and traditional role, whereas others are more practical. So, let's take a look. Whoopie Oopie. The Whoopie Oopie was a golden currency used by the Hutts in Hutt space. The value of a single Whoopie Oopie was around 0.625 Republic credits, and ingrained on the coins was the Huttese Code of Trade. Trugoot. A regional currency also used by the Hutts, the Trugoot had the equivalent value of 10 credits or 16 Whoopie Oopie. Pegat. The final form of Hutt currency, the Pegat held the equivalent of 40 credits. In terms of other Hutt currency, one Pegat had the value of 4 Trugoot and 64 Whoopie Oopie. Jabba's Marker. Jabba's Marker was a personalized gold coin token from Jabba the Hutt, indicating that someone was employed by the crime boss. This was more of a currency of terror than anything else, as it was primarily a device used for extortion rather than any monetary value. It advertised the wealth of the Hutts to those who saw it. Calamari Flan. Outside of galactic credits, the calamari flan is probably one of the most recognized currencies by fans of Star Wars, thanks to its introduction in The Mandalorian. This was a white and blue disc-shaped coinage which, under intense pressure, would lose its shape. Carltonian Fiskin. The Carltonian Fiskin was an extremely rare yet unusual and valuable coin from the Carltonia system. It originated during the era of the Galactic Republic, but after the end of the Galactic Civil War, this coinage was mostly seen in the hands of collectors and historians. Messark. The Messark was a form of currency used on the planet Aragao during the last days of the Galactic Republic. Interestingly, outside of its use as a form of currency, the word Messark was also considered a measure of time. Meat Lump Lump. The disgustingly named Meat Lump Lump was the official currency used by the so-called Meat Lump Gang on Corellia during the Galactic Civil War. It held no value outside of the gang's dealings. Corellian Credit. Another local currency to, you guessed it, Corellia. It was used alongside the standard galactic currency. Zuckle. The Zuckle was a form of currency used within the holy city of Jeddah during the era of the High Republic, often seen collected as a donation. Jeddah Knot. The Jeddah Knot was a coin used as currency in Jeddah City. Similar to the Zuckle, Jeddah Knots were often received by members of the Guardians of the Wills as donations along with imperial credits and other currencies. Perat. The Perat was the official currency of the planet Andumar, used by the nation of Kartan. It displayed the current ruler on the obverse or heads side. Adumari Cred Coin. Worth slightly less than the galactic standard, Adumari Cred Coins were an alternate currency of Adumar. Sokaron Credit. Sokaron credits were the monetary unit of the planet Socorro, which essentially lost its value during the fall of the Galactic Republic. Pez. The currency on the planet Arono in 382 BBY, the Pez took the form of typical coins and was used by the planet's inhabitants. Univer. A unit of currency in the unknown regions, the Univer was a mysterious and lesser-known regional currency, noted for its use in ransom negotiations within the Chiss Ascendancy. Zemid. The Zemid was not necessarily of great monetary value in the form of conversion rates to credits, but the coins themselves could be melted down, thus possessing universal value in the form of their composite elements. The Batuan Spira was an ancient currency used at the Black Spire outpost. It took the form of hexagonal chips of a dull yellow or silver metal, its head's face showing the word Spira along with the Arabesh letters BSO for Black Spire Outpost. Drugat. The Drugat was a unit of currency used during the Clone Wars era of the galaxy, possibly localized in Toydarian-controlled worlds. Raltiri Colonial. The Colonial was the localized currency of the planet Raltir, equal in worth to the galactic credit. Draelish Crown. The Draelish Crown was the currency used on the planet Draal, but otherwise nothing else is known about this currency. Karsum. The Karsum was the planetary currency of Radnor, where 5,000 Karsums was the average 1 year's pay on the planet. Ari. The Ari has a similar history to that of the Zemids, where the coins had a universal value exclusively because they could be melted down into their composite materials. Kavan Bill. Kavan Bills were used on Cato Nemodia. However, by the time of the Clone Wars, Kavan Bills were already considered rare and ancient despite still being in circulation at the time. Keshel. The Keshel was a unit of currency used exclusively in the mining colonies of Tyne's Horky, where its value was based on a rare mineral found on the planet. Keshel. Land and sky currency. Taking the form of coins, the land and sky currency was the official currency of the Akash system. Kulak commemorative coin. The Kuat commemorative coin was minted by the Kuat government to celebrate the institution of Kuat Drive yards. While it had no monetary value, it could be sold and thus transferred into credits. Ithorian currency. Before the events of the Yuzon-Vong War, Ithorian currency was used on the planet Ithor before its destruction, thus making the currency of the Ithorian species worthless. Gambling tokens and Underworld markers. While not true money that can be used across the galaxy, different casinos and Underworld organizations recognized gambling chips, personal markers, and drink chits as a form of currency. Kanto coin. The coins that you see firing out of BB-8's central sphere in Kanto Byte are in fact the casino world's currency, or at least in a sense. These were gambling chips made from precious metals. These coins came in 3 sizes. The largest was gold, the second largest was silver, and the smallest coin was bronze, all of which took the shape of flat, circular discs. Mission tokens. Mission tokens were issued in specific contexts, usually through military service or given by governing bodies. They acted as reward mechanisms and included items such as the Felucia mission token or the Coruscant mission token. Vendors within the Jedi Temple and on Felucia accepted these tokens as currency and appeared in the Star Wars Adventures MMO game. Gambling chips and tokens. Games like Sabacc and Pazaak used tokens and gambling chips unique to their respective gambling games or the facility hosting those games. These chips could represent hundreds or even thousands of credits at stake, and acted as a form of currency within certain organizations. Commodities as currency. All currency systems started as a trading organization. Before coins were invented, people would trade in furs and material goods. In many parts of the galaxy, the Outer Rim especially, barter systems still hold the most value. To someone who's starving, a gold coin is nowhere near as valuable as the ingredients to a whole meal. So, in many ways, physical goods hold more value than regular credits. Precious metals. Precious metals such as gold, silver, platinum, and chromium, among many others, have always held incredible value. During the building of the First Order, materials such as Ari and Zemid coins were stolen just to be melted down to be used as a universal currency. Crystals, fur, and exotic goods. In a galaxy as vast as the one seen in Star Wars, there are many items that are far more valuable than a standard credit. Systems like Kyber crystals could sell at far above 30,000 credits or more, like the one Luthen Rail gives to Cassian Andor as insurance before the Aldani raid. Certain animal products like Wufa leather and Dathomiri spider silk are seen as incredibly prestigious materials that could often be exchanged like currency. But that does it for all of the currency types found in Star Wars. Which did you find most interesting? Let us know in the comments.